What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Hold up. All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mind Shift Monday. Let's go ahead and pause this on out. Welcome to Mind Shift Monday, where we are here. All right. Um, I want to send gratitude to everyone. I'm sure everyone had hopefully everyone had a great Mother's Day. I do understand that each and every one of us goes through the cycle of not having someone with us that is so near and dear to us, but still being supported by that energy in some type of way, or being reminded by them, or reminded of them in some type of way. And so I just want to give honor and thanks to that energy of our beloved ones who have transitioned, right? But also knowing that we are also embodying the wisdom that we received from them, okay, whether it's a grandmother, auntie, cousin, friend, sister, mother, um, anything, coworker, it could be anyone that was near and dear to you. So I always want to make sure that we just touch base on all areas. All right. But we are definitely in Mind Shift Monday. And man, when I tell you it is from Monday to Monday, Monday to Monday, it is always um, something major in the air, whether it's the energy shifting, whether it is just paying attention to the dynamics of what's going on, um, overall in society, whether it's just tapping in and seeing, oh, we back at this US debt ceiling talk again. We literally just had the same talk in January. And I can understand why it's being revisited, but I mean, at the same time, you know, eventually we got to break through the cycles. So I think this is also just going to be something that people have to come to terms with as well, is continuing to hear the same thing over and over again, right? And so we're going to get into the US debt ceiling, Title 42, okay, and just what it really is about. And also speak on Title 8, which was I think it was previous to 42. All right. And then the whole rites of passage of humanity right now. And just, because this is always dealing with leading while learning and effective self leadership, then I always want to make sure that we hit on the things that we can do right now to embrace everything that's happening. All right. So, again, welcome to Mind Shift Monday. All right. To If you're here, make sure you like, subscribe, go from there, get your notifications, hit the bell. And if you're a review, replay, player, replay viewer, then go ahead and, do the same thing. And I really appreciate you. So welcome to Mind Shift Monday, where we basically take a higher perspective into how we think and see things, right? Because we exercise everything else. So why not exercise the way that we see, think, and feel, okay, to a higher perspective? That way we're not so caught up in the details. Sometimes when you caught up in the details and analyzing every single thing, you don't get to experience like the total view of what's really going on. So you can really see all the dynamics that are taking place, right? And once you become that observer and you see those things, it kind of helps you pull your energy out of whether it's situations, whether it's circumstances, environments, you name it, right? You get to pull yourself out of a dynamic instead of trying to control it or figure it out, judge it. All these different things that have nothing to do with us. Like, and if it does, then it'll just reflect back to you for you to do some work, right? Some self leadership work, right? So, yeah, so that's what Mind Shift Money is about. Just exercising the higher mind, a way of seeing things. And then, of course, once you've expanded that view and literally opened things up and peeked in, you can kind of look around a certain way, but still without being attached to anything. And then you can close it back up, and send it out how you need to, burn it up or send it in, do whatever you need to do. Okay. But don't absorb it if you don't need to. All right. So yeah, today is about the US debt ceiling, Title 42, and humanity's cosmic rites of passage. All right. So of course, I'm sure if you don't know, you can look at the previous videos that have been posted. But if you are familiar, then you know that we have been experiencing the energy of eclipse, major eclipse, a hybrid eclipse that pretty much brought three shadows, okay? Like literally mind, body, soul, all the shadows of ourselves, of the moon. But I'm always seeing things and how it correlates with humanity. And so, if the moon shadows are being brought about, then I can only imagine what's going on within us as well. So really, taking time to take time for yourself because this is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And so it's just really imperative to kind of, like I said, pull ourselves out of the dynamics of the day to day things, even just in our regular lives, to just pull yourself out and to just, do some things that have nothing to do with anything that you normally do or anything that's going on in the world, right? So that way you can see what's on your heart, what's in your mind, and just kind of express things, whether it's through art, whether it's through creating something, whether it's, you know, figuring, writing out your dreams, your aspirations, your goals, taking that time out to just really organize our mind, our life, everything. All right. So let's get into this UX. Well, we're going to do Title 42 first, just in case for some reason someone is just unaware. And not just for that, it's just a lot of these videos set precedents for what is to come. And if in some way we revisit this next year, at least there will be this so we can compare, right? Well, I can compare what's being said right now to the next moment. But hopefully, well, I can't say hopefully we don't experience this again. Um, but hey, we'll see. All right. Because a lot of these things continue to cycle through over and over and over and over and over again, right? So let's get into Title 42. All right, so Title 42 is set to expire. Okay, it's set to expire. Well, it actually already expired. And so the United States and Mexico were expecting immigrants to come through the border in droves, tens of thousands, right? Which to me is actually a small number. It's a major number, but it's a small number because I mean, Texas, they gonna take majority of them. A lot of people probably gonna come to Georgia, Louisiana, anywhere up the South Coast, and then even going up the middle. Um, but for the most part, it's really just about the policy being implemented and why should it expire? Why are they letting it expire? What's going to be put in place? And how is this going to affect certain states? So if for some reason you're walking down the street and you see someone and they looking like, they may not even look at you. They just going straight to work. Yeah. Okay. So also, it is no shade in that. It's just I'm just saying it does happen like that. Um Also, let's just find out more about what exactly Title 42 is. So, Title 42 is a policy that was implemented during the Trump administration that allows the US government to use public health concerns as a reason to deny asylum seekers entry to the country. All right. So, a lot of people also felt that the Title 42 was used to bypass US asylum law and violate the human rights of asylum seekers, particularly those from Central America. Okay. So, right now, the current administration, they initially indicated that it would continue to use Title 42. Um, and of course, because of the expiration, they've went ahead and allowed asylum seekers to enter the U.S. All right, but also they can also fully end Title 42 and reinstate the asylum at the border. Okay, and then of course, I was reading up how they could make some recommendations for how they could do certain things where they would provide asylum seekers with COVID-19 testing and vaccines, increase staffing resources at ports of entry, expanding access to legal representation for asylum seekers. All right, so in a nutshell, it's pretty much, I mean, most of everybody that came through pretty much came through. Now, of course, like they said, public health concerns was why Title 42 was implemented. Okay. But now that there is no longer COVID and all of these different things, then they are just going to genuinely let people cross on through. Now, I haven't really heard any updates as far as whether or not, how they're deciding on moving forward, if they've even decided to put anything in place because it has expired, you know. But for the most part, people are just going to steadily be coming in. All right. And so this is also a part of humanity's cosmic rites of passage because it's like, it's that passageway where people are, gaining access to a space that they haven't been in, but they know once they get here, they know exactly what they need to do, want to do, like head on straight forward. All right. Some people may not. Some people just coming because they just want to come and wild out. Right. But for the most part, again, it's the US government, which I have a problem with in a way because now we're talking about us. Like that's all I keep seeing, US government and us. Like that us is our pronoun as citizens, right? So my question that I'm going to get into, I'm not going to get into it right now. I don't want to jump around. So let's go over Title 8. All right. So Title 8 is a section of the United States Code, which is the official compilation of federal laws of the United States. Title 8 of the U.S. Code is titled Aliens and Nationality. All right, and it deals with the legal status and rights of non-citizens in the U.S. Okay, the legal status and rights of non-citizens in the U.S. Aliens and nationality. That's really interesting. So anybody that does like status correction or, all those types of things, you know, in some type of way, possibly they would fall into this category. I'm not too sure. That's a slippery slope, but I'm sure somebody knows. But also, it's setting precedents for, how things operate if you are a non-citizen, alien, and that, for aliens and other nationalities, right? So, Title 8 covers a wide range of topics relating to immigration, including admission to the United States, naturalization, citizenship, deportation and removal, and asylum. It also includes provisions related to enforcement of immigration laws, including powers and responsibilities of federal immigration agencies, such as U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is ICE, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection. All right. So, Title 8 is a critical federal law that does outline the legal framework for immigration systems in the United States. And it provides the guidance for the processing and treatment of non citizens who come to the United States. And it also serves as a basis for many of the immigration policies and regulations that are implemented by the U.S. government. All right. So, with that, we're going to go into the U.S. debt ceiling. Okay. And I know there were a lot of videos taking place in Florida with Hispanics who were dealing with the new laws that were being passed as well down there. And so they were walking off the job, right? And so just honoring their code, knowing that, they don't have to stand by and just let somebody do something to them. We'll just go elsewhere, right? And you can find someone else to work on these things that you need completed, right? So it's just a way of knowing your power, knowing what you will go for and what you won't go for. We get so used to working, we can't fathom walking off the job together. Now, of course, I'm sure it's probably some Hispanics who probably didn't do it, but I'm just saying, the people who've been here, who born here, raised here, well, some people, a lot of people, you're not going to walk off a job. But no, you won't catch anybody doing it. Okay. And honestly, I mean, that is the easiest way to cut through. But because people feel like they're now in competition with AI and computers and technology, then you definitely not going to get anybody to walk off the job, because they trying to make sure that they secure themselves however the best way possible, because of I don't want to say advancements of technology, but the projections that we've seen in movies, okay, now coming to pass. All right. So the U.S. debt ceiling. All right. So again, I'm asking, are we in debt or the U.S.? Because it says U.S. and as citizens within the U.S., our pronoun is us. I'm just being real. If you have to think about it, our pronoun is us. So not only do citizens have their personal debt, but also a corporate entity's debt as well. Not only do you owe your debts, but you also owe the debts of the country, or this entity, this corporate entity. So it's like we have someone running our business, and we haven't made a profit in like a decade or so. Let's make sure. I'm gonna go back. Just to be sure, guys. From what I'm reading. Let's make sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's been at least a decade. 2008-ish. 2001 to 2008-ish. Yeah. 2001 was when we last ran a surplus. How long can you be in business and not make money or be in a deficit? Now, I know somebody is probably like, "Phew, look at the stock market. It's plenty companies on there." I think at one point, Amazon was running debt for the longest before they became profitable, which is why a lot of companies go public, right? Because as you're growing and building, at certain points, you really just want to make sure that you can grow the customer base and just get people active, and you can focus on different money making building things, as you get later down the line or as you continue to progress. But that's why a lot of people pull in investors so that they can stay afloat in a major way, especially once you go public or you hit an IPO or something like that. So yeah, so 2001, that's really interesting that the United States has not had a surplus where they've generated, where us generated some type of revenue in a long time. All right. So this affects us in a really major way. Because again, is it this company that has debt or is it us? And according to the US debt clock, which I always love to look at, and let's see, I may go ahead and share my screen if I'm able to. If it takes too much, I'm not going to do it. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's see. Let me move this around. Okay. All right. So as you can see, and hopefully you can see, but the US debt clock is wild. Okay. So the last thing that I was looking at actually was on this day in 2000, because I went back to see, the surplus that came about in 2001. All right. So even in 2004, okay, the debt per citizen was just $24,670. I mean, and even just looking at this ticker, just rolling, 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 it's just like we just racking up debt, 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 debt. But let's break this down so at least we can just see what this really entails, okay? So, and we'll come to a current time, but I just wanted to let's review this 20 let's review this 2000, and then we're going to go back to 2023. And actually we may go to 2008 as well. All right. So, the US national debt in 2000 was 5,704,000,000 million billion trillion. Yeah, okay. 5,704,990,000,000 and you see what's going on at the rest. All right. So the debt per citizen was $20,242. That looks really cheap. I can only imagine what somebody was saying at that time frame, but 2000, I mean, those actually were some good years because then around that time, we actually were heading into, we were like in the housing boom. So a lot of people are getting homes that, you know, it was a marvelous time. We Buy Cars was booming, you know, anything where you could make a quick flip was booming. All right. So it's funny because they have debt per citizen and then they have debt per taxpayer. So debt per citizen is $20,242, but debt per taxpayer, because every citizen does not pay taxes, is $54,998. All right. So we have the spending and then we have the deficit. All right. Then it's also showing the state revenue, state debt, all right, local revenue, local debt, corporate tax, payroll taxes, income taxes, right? And then US federal revenue, tax revenue, Social Security. At that time, it was like at 398 billion. Federal pensions, Medicare. So the US total debt, this was the national debt, but the US total debt was 26 trillion. Total debt per family, 360,000. Right? I'm just looking at this like this is just crazy. Credit card debt was 637 billion. Consumer debt, total personal debt, total personal debt exceeds the national debt. And then they also go into, the population, how many income tax payers, the workforce, people not working, US retirees, people living in poverty, and it goes on and on, federal employees. And then let's go ahead and fast forward to 2023. So now we have the US national debt at 31 trillion. But then we have the US total debt at 96 trillion. Credit card debt, 1 trillion. Of course, debt per citizen, debt per cash taxpayer, Social Security. It's just wild, because at the end of the day, all of this still goes back to the taxpayer and the citizen. And so that's why I asked the question, who's running our business? Okay. And if it's this easy to start a corporate entity, right? If it's this easy to start a corporate entity, which is why they don't like crypto and blockchain, if it's this easy to start a corporate entity and print money out of thin air, which is pretty much what they say as well, what they said as well, then if you start a business or invest in a business or a corporation, right, you should be able to do the same thing in your own way. I'm sure that may not make sense right now, But I'm telling you, like, it still goes back to um the Title 42, right? The nationality, the whole citizen thing, being an entity, because it can be done. It's just that these countries and corporations are so big, right, that they are intertwined into everyone's life. And so the US debt ceiling, a reason why we have to continue to keep looming over this whole issue, is because so many people's lives are at stake with the money that they are playing with, including Social Security, Medicare, all the things that most people work so hard for, right? That come out automatically on your check. Like, you can't even say no. Well, you probably can. You probably can find some type of loophole. But for the most part, most people are paying their Social Security, Medicare tax regardless, okay? So just bringing these things to light, and it's just something to think about, to expand your mind, to think about, if you do start a business, I mean, every business goes through a certain period of time where things are just not necessarily up. Some of these corporations, again, they're able to have investors. At this point, we are investors in the economy of the US, of us, right? So it's like it's like a catch 22. Do you want to let it fall and crumble, or do you want to actually intertwine yourself into it and support the corporations and entities that are already running, and just continue to be steadily involved, right? So it's just all type of ways that we can look at it, but that's that for right now. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So yeah, it's just some very interesting information. You can go further into. There are some great people who are discussing these same topics and issues that may have more information than me. Okay. My goal is just to bring it up right now and really just to take heed to what's going on. Again, I remember them talking about this US debt ceiling last year, earlier this year in January. It's just like an ongoing conversation. It's almost like when you hear somebody say, "Remember when?" And you like, "Remember when? That's happening." And every time they say it, it happens again. Like, no, please stop. I don't remind me. So yeah, between this and Title 42, I'm just like, there is a total pivot in between these things, right? There is this passageway going on along with the energies and the things that are going on, like I said, energetically, vibrationally with the earth. I mean, with the sun, okay, just overall as humanity, you know, with our minds, with our bodies, with our souls, with our plasma, everything. And so these are just things that we subtly get cues on and take hints at, but it really doesn't affect us until certain legalities and certain things in our environment actually affect us. So this passageway, this cosmic passageway, um, definitely happened again during the hybrid eclipse, facing those three shadows of the moon, right? So if we're seeing three shadows of the moon, then you know you're gonna see three shadows of yourself. All right, which means deep work. All right. Really deep work. Um, so let me just go ahead and get into some things that will help us be able to continue navigating this time as effective self leaders and to just shift our minds powerfully in the right direction, to have that right focus. All right. So, communication, of course, right now, especially for today, is really imperative. Okay, certain types of communication. It just depends on what's going on. But more than anything, it's just really about the ability to clear your mind and focus on essential things in life. It could be so much communication going on right now, and it's just like, you know what? I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out because I would rather be focused on something else. I would rather be really taking in this time because I don't know. I think I say this all the time, but by the time we get to the end of by the end of this summer, by the time we even get to summer, our worlds are going to be so entirely different. Like they are really going to be different. And again, by the time we get to the fourth quarter, the end of the game, right? And depending on what you've been doing, depending on what you're focusing on, we can definitely exponentially see our life change. And so right now is a great time to just really get organized in how you want to do that. And that's what I'm doing. Like I put it on Twitter. I was like, I'm taking a break. There's no way that I could write any and focus the way that I really want to if I'm, putting out information or just, mindlessly scrolling, laughing at everything. Eventually it's just like, look, I know in my inner me, it's like, you have so much you could be doing right now besides this and that and that, you know? And just paying attention, just again, getting clear in the mind and focusing on the essential things in life and what's really ahead of us, what's in front of us, right? All right, so to do this, we can start by understanding ourselves because right now, literally cosmically, we are about to go through what they call the past portals, right? We've been going through portals. Like when I tell you this energy been whoop, wop, pow, right? And it could be in a good way, it could be in a bad. It's whipping us all into shape, whatever that means. So it's like right now we're preparing to go through the past portals, okay? And these past portals are going to again be a great time for us to do intention setting, clearing. All right, so let me go ahead and get into this for you. All right, and this is the majority of the reason why I decided to just lay low for a while, maybe even until we get to the new cosmic cycle, which is July 26th. Okay, I empower in order to enchant, till we get to that point, because it's just like when something's calling you in, that means there's deep work to do, and I want some time with you, and let's go ahead and take care of it. Let me take care of you, right? This is what the Most High is saying. This is what your energy is saying. This is what your soul is saying. Hey, come on, come here right fast. Let me take care of you, right? So some people may feel this, some people won't. It's also too, if you're busy, if you have business, if you booming, or you just like, nah, I got goals, I can't take no break. It's not that you're taking a break. Take time, take enough time for yourself, and be organized in your actions. Okay. And again, I say this because this is what I'm doing. This is my goal right now. All right. So this is also a good time to just get started by understanding ourselves, identifying our strengths and weaknesses, and our goals, our values. Once we're clear on understanding ourselves, then we can focus on our strengths and work on our weaknesses. Okay. We can do this by clearing our mind. All right. Visualizing our goals, visualizing our ideal lifestyle, exactly how we see ourselves showing up in the world, doing things within our purpose, okay? Connecting with our values, all right, and staying motivated and staying focused and just taking inspired action. Because once we have a clear vision of our goals and values, we can take action towards achieving them, all right? And your goals don't have to be your goals don't always everybody's goal is not to run a business. Everybody's goal is not to create content. Everybody's goal is not the same. You might just have a goal that you just want to be able to wake up with a clear mind and go to work. And guess what? You can do that by doing these key things, by doing these four things: clearing your mind, visualizing and creating your day, connecting with your values, and taking inspired action by showing up in your purpose, showing up as your total whole self. Okay? So let's see what else I have for us. Okay, so and this is also a really, really good time for introspection and reflection, right? As we're moving through these different phases of the moon, from a balsamic phase to a new moon phase. All right. I really sometimes I try not to put emphasis on the moon, but I know a lot more people are now in tune with the phases. And so um, you know, but in working with the phases, dealing with manifestation or releasing. And so again, this is a good time to do introspection, reflection, and letting go of things that no longer serve us. We're always letting go of things that no longer serve us. It's a given. All right. So the ways that we can do this are by journaling, reflecting on things from the past month, writing down our thoughts, feelings, insights that come to mind so that we can gain clarity and release any pent up emotions. All right. Decluttering, using this time to declutter our physical space, our inner space. All right. If it doesn't bring you joy, a sense of clarity, so that you can make room for new things to come into your life, our life. Meditating, spending time in quiet meditation. Okay. You can do this by walking, sitting still. You can do this in your work with a clear mind. Resting is imperative. Rest and relaxation, taking care of our body. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. And setting intentions. All right? Setting intentions. All right, so like I was saying, we're going to be going through these past portals, right? This energy, and so um, a lot of people are going to experience it differently, right? But this energy is dealing with life force, our passion, and vitality. So how else can you restore these things within yourself, right? By doing the things that I just spoke on. Okay? So, and the reason why you want to do that is because at this time you may experience an increase in physical energy, or a heightened sense of passion and purpose. All right. So it's best to go ahead and get a hold on it now. All right. And this begins on Thursday. Okay. So the past portals can also bring up old emotions, memories, and patterns of behavior that may need to be addressed. Here are some things you can do to navigate this time and make the most of your energy. All right. So practice self awareness. Okay. Pay attention to any emotions, memories, or patterns of behavior that arise during this time. Be gentle with yourself and allow things to pass through. All right, pass through and pass on. All right, send it off into the earth. Let her know, hey, mm-mm, I don't need this anymore, and just release everything. Anything that comes through within your mind, within your soul, cross paths with you that no longer serves you, right? And you know it. Just put stamp release on it. Stamp release in your mind, stamp release on it. Release, 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 right? Release. All right. Release old patterns. Once we've identified old patterns of behavior that no longer serve us, then we release them. All right. You can do this by forgiving yourself, letting go of negative beliefs or thought patterns, or simply making a conscious effort to change our behavior. All right. We can connect with life force energy by tapping into a sense of passion and purpose, taking time to do things that bring joy and energize us, whether it's spending time in nature, practicing a creative hobby, or connecting with loved ones. Set intentions. Woo! That's always a kicker. Okay? Setting intentions for the future, because as we go through these past portals and we continue to discard and release things that no longer serve us, right? That no longer serve us. Once we come out of these portals, all right, which are 11 days consecutively, 10 days consecutively, 10, 1, 11 days consecutively, right? Then we're going to be going, it's like a butterfly, it's a wing. And on the edge of that wing, we're going to be going down the past portals. Then we're going to go back, right back to the top, coming down the spine of the butterfly, and then right back up. And we're going to be going to the right side, which are the future portals. Okay. Remember butterfly effect? Yeah. So again, setting these intentions for the future, focus on what we want to create in our life, take action towards those goals, and write down our intentions and visualize them coming to fruition. Practice self-care. Make sure to take care of yourself during this time. Get plenty of rest, eat nourishing foods, and engage in activities that support our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. All right. So we can also navigate this time with grace and make the most of its energy. All right. So with that being said, the rites of passage that we're going through as humanity is, again, do you want to keep repeating the same things over and over and over again, or are you ready to step into the new? All right. So again, we go through these phases all the time. We're always in cycles. But each time it just gets a little bit more intense because the earth is changing as well. The vibrations are changing. We are changing as people, okay? As human beings on a cellular level, right? The sun is evolving, right? The moon is a satellite in such a way, right? So if all of these things, nature is evolving. So as these things are changing, as the world vibrates, as these things move right along, what are we doing to be a whole new embodiment of our total self and the things that we're coming into, right? And preparing for that type of transformation. Okay. The first thing is to not be inside of the us pronoun for the US, and to eliminate our debts. I'm sure some people probably already have debts eliminated, but I'm just saying, it's just like, how long? How long? It's almost like they're saying, how will they know? How will they know we are trillions in debt if you go ahead and raise the ceiling one more time? Right? And if they're doing it now, then there's a possibility it may happen again before the end of the year, like maybe like right at the end of the third quarter to the fourth quarter. But there's also a possibility that it may not, because it may be a smooth transition through the economy. But like I told somebody, the economy is always recovering. So with that being said, you just got to focus on yourself and be your own economy, right? Get your own coins, Right. Start your own community and make something happen. I'm just saying. But all right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to Mind Shift Monday. It's been a very interesting day. Beautiful energy for us to just continue to evolve with grace and make the most of our time and energy. Okay. All right. So, as always, this is definitely a heart based frequency vibe. And I am out of here. Peace.